So in our previous discussion, we discussed about how we are going to be working with Maven and what is the purpose of the Maven and why we need is like a Maven. So what is the necessity of the a build tool like a Maven? Just we seen that one, and we are
Recording in progress.
so that's what. So in our extra discussion, we discussed about the necessity of the build tool. Like we discussed about the Maven and a Gradle. So just we seen. So Maven will use the pom.xml, Gradle is a build.gradml. So and we seen the little bit difference between the Maven and the Gradle also. So those things also we seen that one. So the necessity of the build tool we just seen that one. So basically, if you want to do some kind of a down collect the libraries of your project and you want to execute some kind of a unit test cases, all those things, and if you want to make some kind of a configurations with your project, and if you want to package your project like a jar file, war file, er file, so if you want to do every time, so then you are going to be using the build tool like a maven or a gradle you are going to be using, so to automate your build process, because you are a developer, you will have your IDEs in your local system, so you are going to be having some helping hand for that. So if you want to set up some kind of a war files or files, so you're just going to be keeping the build path and set the class path, all those things. But once you deliver this jar file or some kind of a war file, so you need to package all the related libraries, everything into a single packaged war file or a war file. So that time it's a little bit difficult every time. Suppose without the build tools also you can do, but that process is every time you need to do manually. Suppose if you want to package a jar file without a build tool, you either you need to use the IDE or you need to use some kind of a Java commands you need to use. Through the Java commands, you are going to be packaging your application. That's what you are going to be doing. To avoid this kind of and manual work. So to avoid this kind of hectic work in the building of your project, so to automate the build process, we are going to be using this build tools like a Maven or a Gradle. We are going to be using. So both are for the sake of the build process only. So to make sure to package your application or to make any kind of a configurations, so we are going to be using this build tools. We are going to be using. And yesterday we seen how we are going to be develop a Spring Boot project. So just the initial step we just did. So basically three ways you can generate a Spring Boot project. So first one is a Spring Web Initializer. Second one is by using your IDE. Third one is there is a CLI we are having, but this is the most underrated. So in general, real time also, to be honest, in my 7 years of journey, I used one or two times with the CLI. That too with my over enthusiasm I used. But to be honest, the CLI very less people we are going to be using to generate any kind of a project. So mostly they will, as we are in development stage, mostly we will use the IDE only. Um, Sometimes we will use the web initializer like the web initializer we are going to be using that one. So we will see this. So first we are going to be seeing how we are going to be working the Spring Web Initializer. So that's what we are going to be seeing in a yesterday discussion. So just you can check with the Spring Web Initializer, or you can just type the Spring Initializer. So this will going to be take you to the start.spring.io. So this is a web console which will going to be help you to generate the Spring project. So here, different segments we are having. So with these segments, we are going to be seeing this one. So which kind of a project you want to take? At present, what environment we are having?
Java project.
So I mean, build it to layer.
Maven.
Either
So currently in our system, we set up the Maven. So we agreed to go for the Maven. So we'll see the Gradle also, but first you need to work with the Maven. So why? Because you can work with the Gradle also, but starting itself, if you start the Gradle, it will give a little bit confusing. So honestly, I'm telling, the more you work with the Maven, the more you will work with the Gradle, the more you love the Maven. Because the complex is a little bit in the Gradle we are having. So it will use a Groovy script. It will not use XML. I mean, it is some kind of unstructured way available in your Gradle. So to get the context about the builder tool, to get the hands-on experience with the builder tool, so good start is the Maven. So once you work with the Maven, you will get what a builder tool can do. So the context of the builder tool you can get easily. So that's the reason we decided first to use the Maven. So we'll generate with the Maven. So the language, which language?
Java.
Java.
Java we are going to be using. So as I mentioned, Spring Boot, you can develop some features with the Kotlin also. You can use the Groovy also to develop some features. So like a runtime environment changes, immediately you want to change a Groovy script also you can do. So you can use the Kotlin also. You can write all the code in a Kotlin also. You can develop a Spring Boot application with a Kotlin also. But generally people will use the Java because it's a robust. So anyway, if you take the Java, Kotlin, Groovy, these all are the JVM languages. So any JVM language you can use to develop your Spring Boot application, or you can use the Spring Boot application to develop. To develop any Spring Boot application, you can use any JVM language. So JVM language means if you take the Java, Java will also use the JVM to execute the program, to execute your functions, all those things. Kotlin also will use the JVM. So that is also JVM language. So Groovy also will use the JVM. So it will internally use every programming language, either Java or Kotlin or Groovy. It will use the JVMs only. So any JVM language is support to develop the Spring Boot application. So we already habituated with the Java. So we are going to be using the Java. We are going to be using. So by using this Java, I'm going to be developing the Spring Boot application. And coming to the version, yesterday we discussed a lot about the version. So which kind of a version is a preferable here to take?
Long-term support.
So that is nothing but in a short form.
LTS.
So
LTS.
LTS.
LTS we are going to be calling. So basically three types of releases we are having. So we are having the snapshot versions, milestone versions, LTS versions we are having. So
Yes.
snapshot version means so they will release the product, but still some lack of testing, maybe some bugs will going to be occur. So they are not that much confident. So that kind of a versions we are going to be calling as a snapshot versions we are going to be calling. So second one is the milestone versions. So they just in open source community they just announce the date. Maybe next by February 2025 I'm going to releasing the Java 25 I'm going to releasing. But to just to reach that milestone also in open source community, these people will release the these versions. So that time they are not confident about that how efficiently that framework will going to be work. So that's where they will just mention the M1, M2, M3. That's what those all are the milestone versions. So never believe the milestone versions. Dear. Definitely milestone versions will going to be giving a lot of problematic issues. It will going to be rise. So always we need to choose the LTS versions, long-term support versions. That's the reason till now also you are going to be hearing Java 7, Java 8, Java 11, after Java 14, then Java 21. So why? Because these versions are the LTS versions. Java 9 also is there, Java 10 also there, but those are the snapshot versions. So industry is not trust that snapshot versions. Java 12 is there, Java 13 is there, but they are the milestone versions. So industry will not trust those kind of a milestone versions. Only LTS supported versions only will going to be trusted by the industry. So that's the reason we need to use the milestone versions. So here milestone versions is the 3.3.6, 3.4.0. So the best version is the 3.4.0 because 3.3.6 is a little bit old version. So 3.3.7 is the latest version, but it is a snapshot version. So it's not recommended to go for the snapshot versions. That's the reason we are going for the 3.4.0. So until this we discussed, and now, so the project metadata here. So generally what we'll do is whenever you are developing a project, so the product it needs some kind of information because let us say I want to develop a project. So that project is belonging to so and so some organization that's you're going to be doing. So the people who are using my product, especially in a development community, so to know about our project, so generally we'll maintain this metadata information about the project. In that first one is the group there. So generally group how they will maintain is so they will just reverse the domain name of their product. For example, have you ever you guys have a bit knowledge on the JDBC, right? JDBC.
Yes.
So have you ever used any kind of a drivers to connect with a database in your Java? In a JDBC, we must need to connect with a
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
database.
Type 1,
Yes.
type 4.
Yeah, I'm not asking about those ones. So type for drivers only. So to register with the driver, you are going to be in the class names. So what is class names? Do you remember? For example, MySQL driver class name. So did you remember? So this one here, com.mysql.jdbc.driver. So you will give that driver class dot for name, and you are going to be give this one. So this is the MySQL driver class name. Similarly, you are going to be using something called as a Oracle class name. So here nothing but a OJDBC driver. So the class name for this OJDBC. So that is nothing but com.oracle dot so drive JDBC dot driver. You are going to be using this one. So if you carefully observe, these people also developed a driver. These people also mentioned some effort. But if you see, so this part we are going to be calling as a group we are going to be calling. So what are the products coming from the MySQL group? So they will maintain this com.mysql. So maybe that MySQL drivers, so maybe that MySQL databases, MySQL so on so connectors or everything. So they will maintain in this group. So that's how they will identify. So if you just see reverse this one dear, com.mysql reverse, what it will happen?
Oracle.com,
MySQL
Oracle.com.
MySQL.com. That is nothing but your domain name only, right? Oracle.com, MySQL.com. SQL
Yes.
Server also Microsoft.com it is having. That's all nothing but your domain names only. So generally, group name means they will just reverse the domain name. They will maintain like that. So that is just a suggestion, but your choice. If you want to use anything, you can use. But in the future, when you are working in a real time projects, the group names we will reverse the domain name and we will use that one. For example, I'm working for some kind of a JPMs. I'm working. So com.jpms I will maintain in my projects. Maybe I'm working with something called as a UPS system. So com.ups I'm going to be ups.com is actual my domain name. I will reverse that com.ups. That is a convention. So you will follow when you are using a group name, because by seeing that group name itself, we can understand. Okay, this was maintained by the so on so fellows. They are going to be developing this one. So like that. So that group name you are going to be giving this one, your choice. So I'm just giving something like a com.training I'm going to be giving. So that's I'm going to be giving. So artifact is nothing but your application name, dear. Whatever the application you are going to be developing or whatever the service you are going to be developing, that is the artifact name. That is the artifact name. For example, I'm developing the user management. My artifact name is the user service I'm going to be give. Suppose if I'm giving something called as a e-commerce, so e-commerce I will going to be give. Suppose I'm giving something called as a some application like a health some invoice management, so invoice service I'm going to be keep. So artifact is nothing but your application name. So with this artifact you are going to be identified. So generally what people how you are going to be define this one is based upon what application you are going to be developing, what kind of a service you are going to be developing, so that you are going to be keeping. So I'll just give something called as a Spring Boot demo app I'm going to be giving. So that is my application name. So that is what I'm giving the artifact. So the same artifact I'm going to be giving. But the actual meaning of artifact is a different here. So I will discuss. So once you got some knowledge on this coding, all those things, so then I'm going to discuss that one, or what is the actual meaning of artifact. So generally, what is meaning of artifact is, let me do one thing. So let me explain actual flow, what will happen. Generally, as a developer, you will develop your code here. You will write the code, you will develop your microservices, whatever it may be, you will develop the code. So this code, whatever the code you developed, so that will going to be maintained in a repository. that will maintain the repository. So that's we are having something called as a Git repository or a Bitbucket, some kind of a Azure dev scopes you are having. So there your code will going to be maintained. All the code, whatever the code you are going to be writing, that we are going to be maintaining. So first why we need to maintain in a this repository. So first why we need to maintain this repository. So why? Because let us say you develop the code here. So project means not only one developer, right? You are having the multiple developers you are having, correct?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
So multiple developer means developer one, developer on a module one, developer two work on the module two, developer three work on a module four, module five. Like that, people will going to be working. But ultimately, project is the same. So now, how many developers work in the project? All the developers code we need to maintain. We need to merge, or we need to combine. So let us say I developed a module. You are a developer too. Your development is depending on my code. So I want to share code with you. Just a blind guess how you want to share a code. Blind guess. Any blunt answer also acceptable.
Like we're going to
Yes.
give the access for DevOps. I'm sorry, Git.
Forget about that. Till now, Git is not introduced.
We
We'll
used to
share
share.
my
Let
file
turn
attachment.
into a jar file.
No,
Every
then he will not be able
code
to
is
access now.
Okay. So as you mentioned, we're going to be give a jar file. Jar file what consisting, dear?
Bit code,
It's
sir.
not a
code.
source code. I am also developer. You are also developer. I need your source code.
I'll have to share him, sir, the code. Actual code
Yeah,
we'll have
share
to share.
code. So
Yeah.
can we keep in a email and we can share that .java files? We'll keep in a email and we'll share that people. First of all, your Gmail or any kind of email will not accept these programmatical extensions. .javas, .pys. So that will treat you are like some throttler, like a hacker, and it is going to be block your email address first.
Through shared folders, SVN.
Yeah, so if you go for the shared folder, so that is a little bit challenging. I mean, you mentioned SVN, but I'm not discussing about the SVN. So let us assume you created a shared folder you mentioned. But the problem here is if you keep in a shared folder, maybe on the same file, me and you both are working. So now we need to decide which code is which code has to be consider, which code has to be should not consider. For example, I written some code. On top of that, your code, you written some code. Your code is as per the requirement. Your code is required. My code is not required currently. So that scenario, so that kind of a tracking we need. That kind of a tracking we need. So in the future, somewhere, let us say all the code available in my local system, in my computer only it is having. So tomorrow I just went for the vacation. So I forgot to keep in a shared folder. I have a very low bandwidth. That scenario. So that's the reason people introduced a concept called as a code repositories. They introduced it here. Whatever the in industry, they will not code will not share through maybe to check whether you are genuine people or not. In interview, they will ask these questions also. How you will maintain the code? How you will maintain your source code? You will maintain the source codes in the code repositories like a Git or GitHub or Bitbucket or Azure DevScopes you are having. So there you are going to be maintaining. So it's all depending upon the company to company. It is going to be changed. So it's better to mention the Git or GitHub. Bitbucket. So why? Because Git or GitHub is the open source also. You can it will having the proprietary and open source. Suppose some kind of a code. If you purchase a GitHub license, so that will give a access to the certain peoples only. If you open the public account of the GitHub, anyone can able to access. So that's where your code will going to be maintaining in that repository. So all the code will going to be maintaining in that source code repository. Now what developers will do is dev 1 or dev 2, dev 3. So maybe dev 1, maybe dev 2. So all these people will going to be push the code to this code repository. Whatever the modifications they did, everyone will going to be push the code into that code repository. So once they push the code to the code repository, first you are having a tracking. Tomorrow I added some code here. After me, you added some code. We need some proof, right? I need to blame you because because of your code only my code got corrupted. Because Indians first will blame only. Will first will not think, will blame only. So we need that proof. So that kind of a tracking will provided by this repository. So some kind of both developers are working. So which code is required, which code is not required. So that's we are going to be calling as a reviewing of our code. So did you properly written the code or not? So that everything will going to be offered by these repositories. That is nothing but your GitHub or a Bitbucket or Azure. Any one you can take. So that is nothing but your code repositories we are going to be calling. So the all code will going to be pushed to your repository. So now our source code is in our repository. So now client need or we need to deliver our project to the testing team to test that one. We cannot able to test this to the testing people. We cannot tell, right? Hey, you can take this code. Now once the code is pushed into the Bitbucket, whoever have access to this repository, they can get the code and they can track the code and they can see the code, they can analyze the code, they can review the code also. So like that, testing people want to test our code. So we cannot tell, hey, take this source code and build in your application and I will guide you all the documentation I will going to give you. You can run the application in your local and you can test it. That's not possible. Testing people will tell if all these things, if I know, why should I come to you? Why should I will be a tester? I will become a developer only, man. So why should you have to do all those things? So here also, what we will do is to automate this process, deployment process. So this is where your CI/CD will going to be involved here. So continuous integration and continuous deployment will going to be involved. So developer wise, you will not involve this one, but for the sake of idea, I'm going to giving. So there is a people called as a SRE people, service reliable engineers or DevOps team will going to be maintain this one. Only as a developer, your responsibility after modifying the code, you will push to that repository. Later that the pipeline we are going to be called, that pipeline build should has to be happen. So that will going to be taken care by the DevOps people or SRE people. If a small companies like a startups or any kind of level 3 companies, so people will going to be do themselves, developers will going to be configure all those things. When I'm working in my previous company, so as a solution architect, sometimes I need to build these pipelines also because to take care about this all those things. So there in this what will happen is, so you are having the source code here. So in a source code, if I want to deliver my application, what is the steps you need? What is the steps you need? Source code you are having.
And we'll have to deliver it through the Jenkins, sir.
That's what. Can I say compilation?
Yes,
You
sir.
need to do the compilation. From this source code, I need to do the, after compilation, I will going to be package, either jar or war file. So once my package was done, then I'm going to be run unit test cases, all those things. So this process we are going to be calling as a stage. So let us say stage 1 I'm going to be calling. And in a stage 2, now my application is ready. So my compilation was success. I packaged as a jar file. I use the unit test cases. Internally, I'm using the maven or something. So maven or Gradle. So I did that one. So stage 1, I need to do this one. So in a stage 2, I need to deploy my application. So maybe some,
Step 2.
sorry.
Yeah, stage means step, right? I mean,
Yeah, I'm
step
just
1.
going for a glance look here.
Yeah. Fine.
So test environment. So we need to deploy our application or test environment. Then we are having the dit environments. We are having sit environments. We are having system integration test cases. For example, in a microservices environment, our service may communicate the multiple microservices. Is that schema got changed or not? So your microservice is properly working or not? That's where we're going to be doing this one. So this I'm going to be taking as a step two. I'm going to be taking. In a stage two, I'm going to be doing that one. Okay. In a stage two, deployment was done, everything was success. But here, what will happen is, so to deploy our application in a stage one itself, once the stage one completed, we got this war file, right? Or jar file. We'll get this war file, right? War file or jar file. So in a stage one, I'm going to basically in a stage one also we're having a lot of steps here, but I don't want to confuse you. Just I'm going for the high level. So once the stage one completed, we'll get a jar file or war file, right?
Yes, sir.
So once the developer will push the code to the code repository. From the code repository to, so there is some CI/CD pipeline is there. So in that CI/CD, continuous integration, continuous deployment. So these stages will going to be done. In a stage one, I will get a war file or a jar file. So this war file or jar file also not only source code. So this war file jar file also we need to save somewhere. We need to save somewhere all the jar files. Why? There is a reason. Let us say I fixed this one here, version to version, version to version. A simple example. For example, I developed an app. So I have that is a in a version one. I have some features. In a version 2, I have some features. Version 3, I have some features. Somehow, version 3 is not working properly. Immediately, I need to come back to the version 2. To come to the version 2, I need to safeguard these war files or not, or jar files or not.
Yes, sir.
So that safeguarding place we will call as a artifact location we will call here. Artifact location we will call. So there you are going to be using something called as a JFrogs, all those things we are going to be using. So that artifacts location we are going to be using. So in this artifact location, what we are going to be having is our applications, our final packaged war file or final packaged jar file will going to be placed in this artifact location. In this artifact location. So this entire thing is a pipeline here. So this entire thing is going to be automated by a guy called as a Jenkins software. So in this Jenkins, these stages were going to be configured. Stage one, you have to do these steps. Stage two, you have to do these steps. Finally, everything was done, upload into a Jolfrank. So this will called as a continuous integration. Once it was done, then if you integrated some kind of a cloud environment, AWS or Azure, everything, so that is a continuous deployment. So here for a continuous deployment, we are going to be using, we will going to be use something like Ansible's. For infrastructure provisions, we will use the terraforms we are going to be using sometimes. So it's all about our environment. For example, I'm using a multi-cloud environment. Some clients using the AWS, some clients using the GCP. So that times I need to provision the same kind of environment to the GCP and some kind of AWS also. That's where terraforms we are going to be using. It's a high level I'm telling, but a glance idea I'm going to be giving. So provisioning is nothing but copying the environment here. Instead of every time, so for example, I want to run a Java application. What is the base thing I need here? Suppose a simple Java application I want to run. What I need?
JVM.
JRE, GVM. Yeah,
JRE you
yes,
need.
yes.
But that JRE also you need a specific version or not? For
Yes,
example,
sir.
I developed my application the Java 17. You maintaining the Java 11. Is it work? A Java
No,
17 application can work on the Java 11?
no, sir.
Backward compatibility not possible. But for example, if you are having the Java 17 in your machine, my application is the Java 11, you can run. Forward compatibility is okay. But backward compatibility is not okay. So that means some kind of a setup I need. In a cloud environment, what we will do is we'll call as a provisioning that one. Every time, for example, AWS, I'm having the 10 instances I'm maintaining. I mean 10 replicas I'm maintaining. Each and every replica I want to maintain. So that is a little bit hectic work. So then what we will do is we'll provision. So in instance one, instance two, instance three, same kind of a environment will replicate. That will called as a provision. To provision that we will use a tools called as a Terraform we are going to be used. So and again, in this cloud environment also, we are having the 10 is the Windows servers, 10 is the Linux servers. So some kind of different kind of configurations we are having. At the same time, I need to apply the configuration irrespective of the environment. So that scenario, we will use the Ansible we are going to be using. Ansible for the sake of the configuration, Terraform for the sake of the infrastructure provision. So that's where these two tools we are going to be used. But just this is only for the idea sake only. I'm damn sure you will never touch these tools in your I mean in your development career. At least you have to, you will be in a lead, and at least you have to be architect, so then you are going to be touching this one. But just a glance look, I'm going to be giving this one in the future. If you hear this Ansible, don't think that is some kind of a great tool. Ansible is just a configuration tool. I'm having the Windows server, Linux server. Parallelly, I want to do some configuration in Windows and Linux. So that's we can do is the Ansible. So Terraform is infrastructure provision and provision. Already I'm having some environment configured in a Windows. The same I need to replicate in a Windows 2 server, Windows 3 server, or Linux 1 server, Linux 2 server. So to provision that kind of infrastructure, you will use a Terraform. And remember, Terraform can't able to do the configuration, Ansible can't able to do the provision. So both the tools will going to be working the hand in hand. Once the Terraform provision the environment, so then Ansible will going to be apply the configuration. So that's what will going to be happen here. So that will going to be do will in the deployment. CI is nothing but continuous integration. CD is nothing but continuous deployment. So this thing we are going to be calling as a SRE team will going to be taking care. So if you see, you are uploading your war file and a jar file, right? Where you are uploading in a war file and a jar file?
Artifact location.
Artifact location. So to upload, you need some name, right? To upload, you need some name, right? Suppose
Yes, sir.
in your mobile, you are going to be downloading your MP3 songs here. Every MP3 song having a name or not?
Yes, sir.
Similarly, here also we developed an application. So we are going to be maintaining the wars and jars in some artifact location. So that need a name. So that is nothing but here it is asking artifact. Artifact is nothing but the application name. Whatever the name you will give, so the same with the same name, it will going to be create the jar file, war file. So that will going to be keep in artifact location. Automatically prefix will going to be added here. How many times you will upload the artifact? So based upon that version 1, version 2, version, that will configure. So let us say within 24 hours, how many times I will upload also, that is a version 1 only. After 24 hours passed, how many times I will upload also, that is the version 2. After 72 hours, how many times I will upload also, that is the version 3. That's how we'll going to be add the some prefix. But ultimately that application will name will not going to be changed. That is nothing but your artifact we are going to be calling. So that artifact, so you are going to be you are going to be giving here. So finally, in a simple terminology, what is an artifact? Artifact is nothing but a
Jar and war file location.
your application name. The artifact locations are different. Artifact is just your application name.
Application.
Name.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's what in a project metadata we given the group. So nothing but to promote our organization, all those things. So we are going to be giving this one. So generally, dear, by package name, how we will maintain is combining the group name plus artifact name will become a package name. That is a proper way to create your application. So now see, I given the group name is a com.training, application name is a Spring Boot demo. So automatically package name is a com.training.springboot demo app. So this will become my package name. So in your, this is your regular Java package name only. So that package name we are going to be taken. So if you want to give some kind of a description, you can able to give. So with this, you can able to explain what your project is going to be doing, all those things. So that's if you want to give, you can give that one. So this is all about the project metadata, and finally packaging. So which kind of application you want to generate? You want to package as a jar file or a war file? Coming to the Spring Boot, there is a slight change will happen here if you use the jar and if you use the war file. If we use the jar packaging, so it will not going to be add any additional thing. It will going to be do that one. But if we use the war file, it will going to be add some additional class to support the external deployment. War file means it is external deployment, right? You are going to be deploying in a Tomcats like the external servers are going to be deploying, right? To support that external servers, your Spring Boot will add some new class. So that we are going to be discuss once I discuss the project structure of the Spring Boot. So that's I'm going to discuss. So first we'll generate the project. So then we'll go deep. So there is a project skeleton is there, project structure is there. What is the different kind of locations you need to keep your configurations or classes, everything we are going to be keeping. So that's we are going to be discussing. So as of now, I'm taking the jar file only. So that's it. And which Java version we are maintaining, dear?
17.
See, that's the reason I told you you need minimum of which Java version. So this is the reason because Spring Boot to 3 onwards, minimum requirement is a JDK 17 unit. JDK 17 unit. That's it. So if you are going for the Spring Boot to 2, Spring Boot 2.4, JDK 11 is also sufficient. But if you are using the Spring Boot 3 means definitely you need a JDK 17 unit to use because they use a multi-threaded processor and they use something like a records they use. So that you are going to be using in a this Spring Boot 3. So that's the reason. So definitely you need a JDK 17 you need. So that's what that is available in our system. So that's it. Dependencies means if you want to add some kind of other configurations, whatever you want to add, so you can add these dependencies. So I'm not taking any dependencies as of now. So if you didn't added any dependency, by defaultly Spring Core library will going to be added. Spring Core library will going to be added. So we don't need to do anything. So now if you click the explore, it will reveal how it will going to be generate. So I mean, what are the projects you are having? So what is the, how pom.xml will going to be look like? Pom.xml means which build tool? Maven. For example, just to close it, I'm just taking something called as a Gradle Groovy I'm taking. Now, if I just click the explore, what we are going to be having?
Gradle to
Gradle. Gradle will use which build tool as we discussed?
Gradle ja
You can see here.
build.
See, Maven use the pom.xml. Gradle will use the
Dot Gradle build dot.
build.gradle. What we will call here this one? These files, what we will call? Build descriptors here. Yesterday we discussed it, right? Build descriptors. Pom.xml, build.gradle. So we'll call as a build descriptors. How I want to build my project will going to be described in these files. That's the reason we'll call this pom.xml or a build.gradle as a build descriptors we're going to be calling. So if you select the Gradle, it will generate the build.gradle. So if you see this, this looks like this. So build.gradle looks like this. It's a little bit everything is a Groovy scripts. It is having a lot of things it is having. So as of now, I'm just taking the Maven. If I go for the Maven having the
Pom.xml.
pom.xml. So there it is having, it will going to be generate like this. So automatically it will add a Spring Boot starter. So it is consist of the core library. So that's what, and it will generate some kind of a project structure also in a source folder. We are having the different things we are having. So this is a project skeleton. We'll discuss what consisting, where consisting. That's where we'll discuss. So just after looking everything, if everything looks good, so then you can just close it and you can just click the generate here, or you can just click here download also. Both will do the same thing only. So just I'm going to be clicking the generate. So now it will generate a zip file here. So this is our application. Now what I will do is I will copy and I will keep in our work location. So here I'm going to be keeping. So that will generate a project and it will going to be give a .zip. A question here. What is our application name?
Spring Boot
Demo app.
Spring Boot demo app.
So Spring Boot demo app. Why it is generated this one? Why it is took a Spring Boot demo app only?
You give an application name.
So application name, I agree, but application name how we
Artifact.
given, where we given?
Artifact.
Some
Artifact.
dot
Exactly, exactly, artifact.
artifact.
So now would you believe me? Application name is nothing but artifact.
Yes.
Artifact is nothing but
Yes.
application name.
Yes.
Sir.
So that's what. So that's the reason only. See, artifact name we given the Spring Boot demo app. The same thing was generated here. So your generated folder name is also Spring Boot demo. This is a zip file. So you can just extract here. You can just do the extract all, or if you are having the 7-zip, extract here. I'm going to be doing in our Spring Boot demo app. So here in a root folder, you can just to open your command prompt here. So change the directory, you can copy the path and you can go there. So what happened? Okay, I will do one thing. So yeah, so now we are in our location. Suppose if you feel this giving the chain directory a little bit, I will show you a shortcut. You can do one thing here in the address bar, type a CMD, enter, it will directly open the command prompt in that location itself. No worries. So now this is the fresh project, dear. This is a fresh project. So we didn't do anything. So we just generated the project. Now to work with our project, we need that dependence. I mean, we need that libraries, right? We need a Spring library, right?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
So that's we need to download or not.
Yes, sir.
No. Dependency
But
we need to
here
install.
generally if you want to get any kind of a library, so you are going to be manually download. But here what you need to do is you no need to do that one. Everything is described in the pom.xml. So now you will ask the maven, hey maven, so do these things. So whatever the libraries you want to download, so that you will define in your dependencies. Currently by default it will added the two libraries, that is a Spring Boot starter, this is a Spring core library, and this is by default for the unit test cases. These are the two default libraries, or this will calling as a dependencies. These are the two dependencies by defaultly added by the Spring Boot. So in the future you want to work with some other libraries or other features. Suppose I want to work the Spring Security, so just I will going to be add the Spring Security dependency. So then automatically Maven will going to be download for me that the Spring Security related libraries it is going to be download. I want to work with the Spring JDBC. Spring JDBC I'm going to be download. So remember one thing. So this Maven is not only for the sake of the Spring Deer. If you want to download any other thing also, so that's also you can able to add this dependency. So Maven is and again Maven is not only for the sake of the Java projects. You can use the Maven for the sake of the .NET projects also. In a .NET projects also you are having. Maven is a build tool, but which will run on the JVM. Even if you are using the .NET project also, definitely you need a JVM for that. So you can build all your .NET projects also with the Maven, but you need a JVM again. So Maven is a build tool which will run on a JVM, with for any kind of application. You can build the Python application, you can build the .NET application, you can build the Java application, Spring Boot application, Struts application, or you can develop a plain core Java application also you can develop with the Maven. So that's where a Maven is a plain build tool which will help you to build the project. That's what. So don't think a Maven means only for the sake of the Spring Boot. No, with a Maven you can develop any project. So here whatever the dependencies you added, so those dependencies will going to be download. For example, in the future you want to add some other dependencies here. For example, I want to connect with a database. I need a MySQL driver. So MySQL driver Maven dependency. I will search for that one. So I will just click here. They will give a dependency. You need to choose version, which version. For example, I will go for the 8.0.3. So there they will give the dependency. You need to just copy that. You need to add here. you need to add here. So then automatically this driver will going to be download. Like that, anything you can download. So tomorrow you want to work with the cloud, AWS, all those things. A cloud console dependency you are going to be downloading. So you want to work with some kind of a struts, or you want to work with some third-party libraries. You want to work with some kind of a payment gateway libraries. All those libraries you can just add as a dependency. So those libraries will going to be downloaded. Not only downloading, it will add to your class paths also. It will add to your class paths also. So that is also taken care by your maven. So whatever the dependencies you need, you just need to have add to this dependency. You just added, but you need to download that, right?
Yes,
You
sir.
need to download the dependencies. So not just adding is sufficient. You need to download those dependencies and you need to tell to your maven. So for that, what we will do is we will use a command called as a mvn. Mvn stands for the maven, dear. So how it will invoke is, how it will invoke, dear? How can I get this one? We downloaded the maven library. Remember?
Sir, slash version. Sorry, oh, dash version.
Yeah, that is a command, but mvn.
ambient desk,
So how, when we will get?
B.
ambient desk repository.
See, I want to work with the maven, dear. Do I need to set up the maven or not?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So that maven. So we set up the maven, right? What is the things we did? How we set up the maven? We just downloaded the
So Maven and
zip folder.
then after that,
That's we
Maven zip
extracted.
folder. हाँ, yes, sir.
Exactly. If you see, you are typing the mvn hyphen version. So this is the maven. How, whatever the thing you are going to be doing and with MVN, so MVN hyphen version or everything. So this MVN is actually know by the your system. How it is know by the system is you added the environment variable. So in that environment variable, what we added is in our bin, we downloaded the maven. In a maven bin folder, are you able to see this MVN, everyone? This is what you are calling there. To call this one MVN, to call this one MVN only, adding that in a path. Simple there, leave about this. You downloaded the Java. Can you directly use the Java just downloading and installing?
No, sir. We'll
So
have to provide the path
you need to provide the path. Why you need to provide the path?
so that we can access it from anywhere in throughout the system.
So why? Because whatever the systems you will use, whether it is a Linux or Windows system, they don't know the Java. Java is the external one. So now you just to open the command prompt. I will do one thing. So let us say this is my fresh. So I have a Java in my system. So if you see in my C folder, I have a Java in my system, program files. I have a Java in my system, which is installed properly, JDK server, everything is there. But now if I just type the Java hyphen version, not recognized. Java C hyphen version, not recognized. Why?
Don't know the path. We have removed the path.
So for that, to get the Java work, so what you need to do?
We'll have to provide the path either in the
You
user
should
or
declare the
like in the
path.
environment.
Environmental variable.
Yeah, so you need to set the path environment variables. In environment variable, what path you are setting, dear?
JDK home.
JDK, then that's sufficient.
Then we used to set the path for the bin folder.
Bin folder, exactly. If you see, when you set the path for the bin folder, you are calling this Java, right? Then it will going to be work. How it will work is your Java is actually a .exe file here. Are you able to see here? Java.exe,
Yes.
everyone. You are calling this one. You're calling this one. So once you set the path, your environment will going to be read this java.exe, then it is going to be execute. Java C, that is a compiler. You see the Java C is also here only. You're able to see?
Yes, sir.
To access all this is Java related files, compilers, or everything, to tell to your environment, you are going to be setting the path. So this is how you need to think, dear. It's not like that. So Sar told, so we just installed the JDK and we set the path by hearted. Just to stop the by hearting at least now. Try to question. So why I need to set the path only for the bin only? Just if the JDK, then why it is not work? Did you tried that? Only just to keep the JDK. Don't set the path for the bin. Only just to set the JDK. Again, you will get the Java is unrecognized command. So because it's need Java means it you are going to be accessing the .exe file, java.exe file you need. So you need to tell to your system where is your java.exe. Java C means it is a compiler, Java compiler, where you want to access that. So that's what. So that's the reason. Maven also, I'm accessing the Maven. How I'm accessing the Maven? MVN I'm telling. What is this MVN? This MVN is a one of the batch file that is available inside your Apache Maven bin folder. So this is where your MVN is there. To access this one, we set the path. So we downloaded the Maven, we extracted and we set the path. So why we need to set the path is, so to access your MVN, so you need to add the path. So that's what we are doing. Suppose in the future, you are working with some Gradle dear. Gradle will come in the zip file. So I want to access the Gradle. So what you need to do? Gradle is available in the Gradle bin folder. Gradle command available in the Gradle bin folder. Then
We'll have to provide the path for
To
the
add
bin
the
folder
environment
inside the
variable.
environment
that's
variable.
it. Set the path for the Gradle variable. So then you are. So why you are setting the path is you are telling to your OS, hey Mr. Windows, this is where my bin is there. This is my Gradle is there. This is my MVN is there. This is my Java is there. Java C is there. Even in the future, if you suppose if you take this kind of high-level language like a Python, all those things, they automatic. That's the reason they will ask you the admin rights. At the time of installation, they will ask admin rights. So then automatically they will set the environment variables. That's so those high level programming languages make you dumb. They are hiding all those things, they will make you dumb. So when you have a set up all those things, then you are going to be directly interacting with the OS, then you can able to quickly plug and play. In a future, somewhere dear, some software you developed, I mean some software you downloaded. So they mentioned so and so command is not recognized. So then what you need to do? Go to that software bin folder, set the path of the term. For example, SAP basis. So I want to access the SAP basis with the SBS command. SBS is not recognized, which means path is not set. I will go to the SAP basis folder. Inside the bin folder, I will copy that path and I will going to be add to my environment variable. So then my Windows will aware, okay, this command is available in that particular location. I need to read that one. So that's the reason you are going to be setting the paths for your Javas, Mavens, everything. That is not only for the sake of this one. So you are telling to your platform, you are going to be telling to your environment, boss, this is where my location, this is where I install, this is where my tools will be there. So that may be even for Linux also. Here, how you are having the environment variables for your Windows. So in a Linux, you use the commands. That is, you are going to be using something called an export command. You are going to be using export environment variable. That is, you are going to be giving. So for your Linux also, you need to tell. For Windows also, you need to tell. Even for your Mac OS also, you need to tell. So then only your platforms, your environments will going to be identify, okay, this is where my software is installed. This is how I need to read. So that's what. So that's how I'm going to be accessing the Maven. So just I added the Maven in my location, and now I can happily use my Maven in my in my application. So just I will do MVN. So if you type the MVN version, it will get the information. Now what I need to do is I need to build my project. To build my project, you need to use the MVN install you need to do. So once you do the MVN install, it will going to be read your pom.xml, whatever the introductions you will give, it will do all those things and it will download all your things and it will do some kind of a testing. This is a testing there. So now see, it downloaded all the dependencies. What are the dependencies unit it downloaded? All the dependencies it done, and it is and it executed the tests also, and finally if everything is working okay, so then it will going to be give the build success. This will call as a MVN install we are going to be do. So once you did the MVN install, by defaultly if you didn't specify any kind of a packaging, that will automatically package as a jar file here. Your maven is going to be packaged as a jar file. So once your build was success, if you go to the location, okay, I will do one thing. I'm just to stop sharing. So because I want to you to cleanly observe one part, I will reshare that. Yeah, now I'm again sharing my screen. So you can see it here. This is my actual thing.
Sir, you installed MVN and okay, yes.
Yeah, go ahead.
Is the command, sir? MVN hyphen install, sir.
No. MVN install just. So see,
We go to the project directory and directly install MVN install.
Yeah.
In our project, MVN will get installed.
MVN is already installed. We are building the project. So MVN installation was already done here. So you got the zip folder, right?
Yes, sir.
So this zip folder we are going to be do that was done. So this MVN install command, what it will do is it build our project. So we are in our project. We generated the project. We need to download all the dependencies, all those things. So to build our project, we are using the MVN install command. That will not install the maven. That will build the project. To build the project, we'll use the MVN install we are going to be doing, like MVN version. What it will do, it will give which MVN version you did. So to build our project, MVN install we are doing.
Like whenever we are going to provide the dependency next time, then every time we'll have to build this project, or like it will automatically going to.
Yes, you have to do MVN install every time you need to do. If you added a new dependency to download, you need to do the MVN install.
Okay.
So now see here, so this is our folder structure before building our project. So now what I will do is I will do the MVN install. What MVN install will do?
Will build the project.
Build our project. It will download the dependencies. It will do or build our project. Now I'm just going to be do the MVN install. Our project was built, and it is did a test cases, all those things. Everything was done. Now, for understanding, I will again take a screenshot of this one. This is after build your project. Are you able to find any difference before building and after building?
Target folder.
Target folder.
So this target folder was created. If your project is built successfully, this target folder will going to be created. If you open in this target folder, what you are having dear?
Jar file.
Jar file.
Yeah.
This is what your application.
Okay.
This is how it is packaged. In the future also, if you want to build a war file, you will just add some configuration in a pom.xml. So then it will going to be build your war file. So this jar file you are going to be delivered to your application. So it will create a two jar file. One is for the backup, one is for actual one. And this is all are the different scenario, different purposes. Like if you are having the some test case results, so that will going to be mentioned here. How many test cases passed or not, that will going to be having here. So Surfire reports, this is what actually, so how many test cases passed, how many test cases failed, that will actually show here.
ఏంటి పెట్టారు ఉప్మానా?
We'll discuss the breakfast later, dear, not now. Okay. So that's how it will generate. Yeah. So this is how your jar file will going to be generated. So this is what will actually deliver to the clients, all those things. So once your project is built successfully, so your target folder will going to be generated. Inside the target folder, you will find your war files, all those things. So this is your maven. So now see, if you see your maven install also, once the maven install command is completed, it will actually tell also. It is just just telling I'm building this jar file. So Spring Boot in a target folder. So this is nothing but our location in a target folder. So this jar file I just built. So this version is automatically added here. So but this is nothing but your Spring Boot demo app. This is nothing but your application name. So how it will read is the artifact name, whatever you will give, the artifact name, whatever you will going to be give. So that's will going to be do. So here, this. So com.training is our thing. So the artifact ID, whatever you will give, so that will going to be take as this one. So whatever the version you will mention here, that will going to be prefix that one. So that's how your application will going to be built and generate. So that's how it is going to be generated. So like that, sometimes you will use the MVN clean also. What this MVN clean will do is, it will delete your target folder. So now if you see, if I go to that, the target folder, it will delete it. So generally, the best practice is you can do both at a time. MVN clean install. It will going to be delete the previous versions. Again, it will freshly build our project, and it will going to be create the jar file. So that is a good practice as doing the MVN clean install. So even if you do the MVN install, also not a problem. It will going to be override the existing jar file, but to remove the caches, all those things, MVN clean install we are going to be doing. Got it? So can you guys do one thing by coming tomorrow session? So just
Yes,
you
sir.
don't need to do anything. So just to build the application, see the jar file is generating or not. Still now we didn't start at the Spring Boot dear. So just we are discussing about the Maven only. You need to understand the Maven process. So just I just discuss the Maven only. We'll need to start the Spring Boot. So there is a lot of things I need to discuss before the Spring Boot. So I want to generate a Spring Boot application, and you need to build the jar file. So what are the things you need to do? Step one. First, you
First
need
go
to have a Maven in your system. Need to have a Maven in your system. So how you can do?
Install
Maven, do you need to install the Maven dear?
You have to download. Sorry,
Just
sorry.
download
Repeat.
the Maven,
Set the path.
download the Maven and
Set the path.
Extract.
set the path of
Pin directory.
And
Maven bin folder. Agree everyone?
Yes, sir.
This is the first step. Second step, generate the Spring Boot project by using the web initializer. You can just simply Google that. So Spring Web Initializer, or if you need, I will ping this in a chat. So this is the URL. Web Initializer. This one. So third step. So fill the details. You don't need to add any kind of a right side part. You can just leave like that here. As of now, you don't require. So in the future, if you want to add anything, so then I'm there we are going to be add. So right side, I'm just leaving that one. Left side, you can just choose the Maven and all these versions you can give. So I can give this also. Okay, we'll copy later. So then, so once you generate the project, you're going to get zip folder of your project, extract and do MVN install in a project root directory. Why root directory? Because in the root directory only we will have a pom.xml. So wherever, because if you need a Maven look for the pom.xml. For example, I just open the command prompt here somewhere. I do the MVN install. Now, if you see, it will throw an error. What it is telling, the goal you specified, you didn't, I didn't find anything. So because this is not a maven project, first it will scan whether it is a maven project or not. So while scanning, what it will look for is it look for the form.xml. So it is telling the goal you specified requires a project to execute, but there is a no,
Form in this.
Form in the lab.
That's what. So where if you want to execute this mvn install or any of the maven commands, so you need that pom.xml. So generally pom.xml will going to be available in the root folder. Not generally, damn sure it is available in a root folder. In the future, if you join in a new project, so there also you just if you see the root folder, there will going to be having the pom.xml. Suppose in a root folder you find the build.gradle, then it's not a maven project, it is a
Gradle project.
Gradle project. That's what. So once you did, so then you can just check the target folder for a jar. That's it. So just these are the 4 steps you need to do here. So this will actually help you if you want to just take a screenshot also, not a problem. So these are the project things you need. Yeah, so these are the 4 things you need to do. So with this 4 things, so you can able to compile the project and you can do. So this will give a over idea about the pom.xml maven. So you can just see the maven, how it is going to be work. You will get a knowledge about the maven. So not only Spring project, in the future you work with a .NET project. So in .NET project also, if you do the mvn install, the .NET related packaging available in the target folder only. Everything is available in the target folder. So that's how your maven will going to be work. So this is, as of now, we just discussed about the maven. So now we are going to be setting about the Spring project. So to work with the Spring Boot, are you a developer or a user?
Developer.
Are you a
Developer.
developer? First of all, you want to be a developer or a user?
Developer.
Developer.
Can I give a tip to you if you really want to be a developer?
Yes, sir.
You need a tip.
Yes.
So that will make you actually a good developer. Let me first test your knowledge. So what is the shortcut for the copy?
Control plus C.
Okay. What is the shortcut for the paste?
Control Z.
V.
That's sufficient, man. You will become ultra developer. Legendary developer you will become actually. 5 years wise, you no need to test anything. Copy the code and paste it. You will become a legendary developer. That's sufficient. I'm damn sure you guys become a ultra legend. Pro developer. Gen Z developers you will become. But where to copy, where to paste. So that's you have to be apply a little bit common sense. So why? Because in my company, there is a one guy is there. I'm not degrading or I'm not going to blaming. So that guy was almost in 12 years in my company. I know about his capacity. I given some kind of a generally while doing some kind of a sprint planning, we'll do the sprint planning. While any kind of a project requirement we got, we'll do the sprint planning. So what task who has to done. So there is a 2 weeks sprint we are going to be maintained. In these 2 weeks, these tasks done by that people, these people will maintain. So I assigned a task to that guy. I expected it is going to be take another 4 days. Solid, it will take the 4 days. So by end of the day, that guy was taken the laptop and Harsha, I did this one, everything is done, everything. I really got a doubt. Okay, so just let me look it, or you can just commit the code and push it, or let me review in person. So just I took his laptop and I didn't do anything, dear. So just typed the requirement in a Google. The first link itself, he just copied and pasted, and he showed me. Then I told him, boss, that's okay. But at least change the variable names. You are working for something called as a industry-oriented project, but you copied some medical project. There is some CX, BX is there. At least change the variable names, boss. Then I'm going to be approved. That's what. Where to copy, okay. But how to paste is also a little bit required. So if you know that, you can happily sustain in an industry another 5 years. Not a problem. If you don't know, please try to learn the control C, control V at least. Yeah. Yeah. So jokes apart, So that's what. So try to make your system, try to build your first Maven project. So that will actually help you because I just discussed Maven with respect of the Spring Boot, but a normal Maven project you can directly generate a Maven initializer also. That's not required because nowadays automation tools first came to the picture, so you don't require that one. So Maven with the Maven, so Spring Boot project. So try to build and make sure that so put your make your hands dirty with the code. So sleeve up your roles and make your hands dirty with the code. So then only it will going to be help you. So what you are going to be doing. So that will actually help you to understand a bit more and more. So that's what. So try it if you have any issues. So that's where going to be check on tomorrow. And small announcement here. So tomorrow the link is going to be changing because for me also it is confused. I joined in the new link. So then I contacted the admin team and they told so still we didn't share the link. So then again I just joined in the this previous link. From your side, please make sure connect with the admin team. Take the new link registration, that's all the secondary thing there. Well, leave about this, but at least to call the admin team and make sure whether you are getting the new link or not. So if that is not there, so just obviously these people are going to be maintaining the WhatsApp group. So just try to get that new link from that WhatsApp group.
Hey,
So
I have a question, Harsha. How do I connect to admin? Because
uh,
I just registered online and everything was available online. Uh, so that's how I joined this class. How do I
yeah,
connect to
you
these
got that
people?
demo videos, right?
Yeah, so
In your
demo
email.
videos,
Email.
no, those demo videos are also available online.
Okay, so you can just check in Ashok IT. So there you have this. If you just able, if you call this, then they will going to be share the details here. That is the one location. Other location in the Maven itself,
Right. Is
the
there
Maven
in dot
itself,
.mvm or something? No,
conf
conf.
folder. So there
Okay,
you are having the setting.xml. So there
okay,
you are having your proxies.
all right. No, okay, here.
Yeah. So
Okay.
what is your
Yeah,
proxy
thank
server
you.
and username password? That's you can keep. So
Yes,
this
thank
need a
you.
system restart. Once you did this,
Yes,
it's need a system restart. So then it will going to be connected.
all right. Yeah, and that's helpful. Thank you so much.
Yeah. People only will aware this proxies, all those things. No need to worry for other people. So generally in companies, what will they do is they will whichever the request you will do, they will monitor the request because to secure their they have a firewalls. So through that firewall, they will going to be bypass the request. For that, they need some kind of a proxy. Every request will go to through this proxy only. So then they will going to be monitor if any like if anyone want to steal your passwords or anything, they will block malware. They will going to be run. So for that people, they are going to be do. So that's what.
Yeah, most of these enterprise systems are sitting behind the firewall, and those firewall ports are closed.
Yeah,
And proxy is the way to go about it. So, all right. Yeah, thank
technical architect, please come connect with the leads. If it is not possible, then I'm going to be tell you. So that's how I'm going to be deviate that people to that technical architect.
yes.
Yeah. So, yeah, so that's what. Thank you. So we'll catch you tomorrow. As I mentioned, so please try to do these steps in your machine. So that's how it will actually help you. So why? Because there, even it is a small steps also. So this is where a lot of students will going to be lack here. So generally, how the student mentality will be there is. So let's start the actual programming. Let's start the actual project. Then I'm going to be start practicing. That will never happen. First, you even basics itself, if you are even it is a hello world program also, don't neglect. So it will make habit way to working on that particular programming language, particular framework. See what will generally happen is first 1 week, 2 week you will not spend properly. You will not spend. So you will neglect this all those things. Once I start the programming and once I start the coding, if you try to start that one, if everything works fine, then the journey is a different. But if you got some kind of a error, if you are unable to resolve that error, then you will try to hesitate. Should I ask this one? This is the basic question. So this is discussed sometime earlier. Should I ask? Should I ask? Not. So that's so your learning curve will going to be diluted. Don't do that mistake. Even I'm even at the end of the class also, at the end of our course also, if you ask me how to install the Maven, I again tell you no issue on that. But at least you need to start practicing, you will start preparing. So this is the major mistake done by the students. They will wait until the actual coding will be started, actual project will be started, then we are going to be starting. So meanwhile, if you neglect all those things, so suddenly if you want to start the project, all those things, first of all your brain should has to be support. Meanwhile, if you fine tune your mind, so okay, practicing small practicing, that will actually make you habituate. So that will actually give a actual way of a learning. So please don't neglect, even it is a small things also. Please don't neglect. So this is a, if you just to spend 15 minutes of time, you can able to download the Maven, you can able to set up the project, you can able to generate the project, you can able to check in your target folder also. Please make sure if anything is not work, I'm here to help you. So that's we are going to be checking on a tomorrow session. Thank you. Have a good day. Today, the class timings is a 7:30 to 8:30 here, 7:30 a.m. It will just go to the little bit of 20 minutes like that. Okay. The
Okay.
detailed things I given in previous segments. So please go through that videos, at least high level if you go through.